All right, guys. So I had a great conversation with my cousin Jesse the other day. And to understand Jesse, to understand that he's a 73-year-old man, he's 6'7", and he grew up in the projects with his other 18 brothers and sisters. Now, Jesse is a Varner, so Jesse is my Aunt Rosalie's son, of which she had 18 additional kids. And they grew up in Southwick Projects in Louisville, Kentucky. So when it came to Southwick Projects, Beecher Terrace, and Cotter Homes, my family ran all of them. They were there, every single one of them. And so what Jesse gets is the same thing that I get. So growing up, because the rest of our family is down in Loudoun County, Alabama, or right outside of it, and they've now moved up to Prattville and Birmingham, and I don't know if I have any in Mobile, but I know I've got some in Huntsville and Montgomery. They didn't go very far. They really didn't. Some of them went okay, but they're constantly looking for money. So if you're wondering what the Africa is all about with me, because someone asked me that the other day. Africa is in despair in some places, not everywhere. Don't believe it is. Don't believe the hype. I dare you to go look up Ocean City in Lagos, Nigeria. As a matter of fact, EJ and Emil were talking about it yesterday. I dare you to miss a video that I put out. I'm serious. Because I'm nothing but a broke brother telling you how to become wealthy, who was super broke. I was broken inside. I was depressed all the time. I hated my mental outlook. My credit was bad. I was bankrupt. I lost 5 cars, lost a house. Please miss me with your misery. Miss me with your misery. I'm 50 years old. I've seen, or 51 years old. I've seen way more relatives die than the average person, because my grandmother was born in 1898. So I know what death is. I also know what survival is. And I tell people, if you are at the same place you were at 20 years ago, 22 years ago, after September 11th, then you have a massive, massive fear problem. I'd already lost everything. I used the crises as a way to say, here's a time that I can lose and it won't be embarrassing, because everybody's losing. So I don't know what you've used this crisis for, and I've actually seen some of your reactions, and I'm gonna be honest with you, they're not good enough. They're not. Because if you want to not be in the projects, then you have to act like someone, even if you go and visit a home, nice neighborhoods, who's not in the projects. Now, I didn't live in the projects, but we had Magazine Street out in our area. My Uncle Heck Roberts' home. He owned a couple of houses down Magazine Street. And then we had our house, which is 7607 Barice Court in Pleasure Ridge, a 900 square foot home. But because we were supposedly not in the hood, but Pleasure Ridge is blue collar, we were considered the rich ones. My father was also considered a rich one because he didn't have to be raised on the plantation as a sharecropper. That's right, I said it. The same owner of the plantation owned us as slaves. So I actually know on both sides of my family where I come from, which most Negroes don't. And so I decided that I owe it to my ancestors not to sit in my misery pathetically. And I also realized that we're not going to get there alone, because we were split up on purpose and for a purpose, because it was strategic. You have to think about this. A people that were purchased and not even considered a whole man, and I don't care how somebody wants to go back and explain that. I've heard all the BS concerning that. I don't mind saying that for you, but it's garbage. You were still nobody. You were amended into the Constitution. You weren't in the Constitution, amended into the Constitution. And over 70% of the guys who wrote it had slaves. All facts. And by the way, the one who actually owned us was a congressman. So that's the reason why a lot of times when I'm very resolute on what I know, and you can't teach me my history, because my grandmother passed it down to me from her own lips. Which is why I was writing a book called Through My Grandmother's Eyes, because I'm the baby. So that means the baby sat around grandmama a lot and heard a lot of key conversations. that a lot of people didn't think I heard. And what stunned one of my cousins was she realized, oh, you have a photographic memory. Yes, it would be like me. You've seen Justin do it. Could be 6. If I say the wrong thing around that baby, he's going to say all of those words. And I heard all of it, guys. Every single bit. So I'm tired of putting things in the chat room that seem to get missed because you just don't feel like reading it. So I'll just tell you straight up, I'm not the one. I'm not the one for the cries of mercy because it's too much pain and it hurts. Let me tell you, every bit of my life hurt. That's the reason why I was depressed. There was nothing to be happy about. So I made a decision that if God says what he says in his word, I have never seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed ever begging for bread. Technically, I'm not one of his if I keep begging for bread. I'm not. And so I realized there's nothing wrong with God or that Bible or the word. There must be something wrong with me. What's wrong with you? That's why I asked you to go look in the mirror, please. Black man, strong black woman. Because the truth of slavery was some of us were conquered tribes and villages, which means we were literally kings and queens before we were conquered. And I've talked to Armenian friends that are doing way better than we are. And I've asked them, do you know what your heritage is? You can look up the history of Armenians, and if it's too much for you, please dismiss me. But those folks befriended me in ways that many people didn't. And they educate me in ways that many people didn't. And they told me things that many people didn't. But when I sat and watched how their reciprocity went between their neighborhoods, Wendell, this is for you. It's not a one-way street because I'm the one with money. No, it's a two-way street. That means if you're going to buy a Snicker bar, go buy it from a brother somewhere. You need to go find some people in your neighborhood in Louisville, Kentucky. And I know Aisha is one of them because I used to do a lot of business with her. And I think she's got a spot on Market Street. And yes, she's Muslim, but so what? She's got the right complexion for the connection. Spend some money with her until you learn how to do that within your own system and build your own tribe. That's what all this is. And so the reason I wanted you, and then God showed it yesterday. I didn't know that lady, Daisha. I didn't know her. God just put her on my heart. And that's what's wrong with us. We're running around in our own little circles of influence, and we keep spinning that circle over and over and over again. I know many people from many people's churches because I got out there and I spoke to them and I let them know that I cared. Show people that you love them first. Don't lead with what you're selling them. Have you looked at how many things are out there to sell? What's different between you and the other 1,000 things? That's the whole reason why I set up the amenities of Diamond VIP. That's why I can entertain CEOs, but that costs me money. One office costs me $500 a month. The other office costs me $2,200 a month. And I'm at the tax bracket that means twice that amount is what I really have to earn in order to pay for those offices. So that's $4,400 and $1,000. How much is that? That's $5,400 before I figure paying anybody for radio time or any other thing that I do. So I want you to know what the real math is so you know when you ask me something. Now, Diamond VIP was not designed as a beggar system. It wasn't. It doesn't mean come ask me for anything. It means I've got 15 different things. You go back in the chat room, you inquire of those things. Live Good is a great one because you can be a broke person. $50 up front or $129. Anybody can afford that. $39. Sorry, anybody can afford that for the whole year just to see what your end's going to be. Order a product or two. The people in Africa are literally taking that same process and not even ordering product until they make money off the Live Good system. And Live Good is going to offer you Forex. The same as Akana. They're offering Forex too. And then we also have Forex in our system in Ghana that will be released in June. The Live Good information will be released in 21 days. We have been successfully placed in the catbird seat. My question to you is, what are you going to do with it? That ain't my job. You answer that question. I need you to fix your mindsets right away.